Welcome back to the Random Horror Show. I am your horror podcast hostess, Keisha Lacey, coming straight out of hell, better known as Texas, as we are still in this stinking ass heat wave that has just not let up. I'm talking about it is hotter than a polar bear's toenail. It is drier than a dryer sheet. I was recording Mr. Frog the other day, and Mr. Frog Kermit just lost all of his color, all the melon, all the pigment out of his little butt. And I was like, God, dog. I said, I believe that frog is going to be moving to Louisiana, where it would be in a humid climate, around some water. I feel that the animals will be moving off from Texas pretty soon. It's an exodus. All the animals are exiting. It's an exodus somewhere else so they can be cooler without going to Lowe's and Home Depot and Walmart to buy air conditioning units and things like that. In the forest, they are spending their money. But anyways, welcome back to the show. How y'all been doing out there? I'm doing pretty well myself. But tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about Resident Evil, the series. Has premiered on Netflix. Of course, Netflix is becoming the number one in horror series and movies for like the past couple of years now and everything. But this one right here, I'm just gonna really rip it apart and stuff in my usual fashion. Of course, here at the Random Horror Show, where we commentate just being silly and random and goofy and everything, but we come back to the main idea with horror, science fiction, fantasy, cult classics, and the obscure in movies, televisions, shows, and books for that matter. And if you want to get yourself into reading some good literature, some articles and things like that, go check out Swedish Nerd. You can look them up, SwedishNerd.com, where a lot of us horror content creators from different podcasts, shows, you name it, from different continents, from different places, where we all have grouped together in this the Horror of July project that is going on right now. Is going to be ending pretty soon this week, but no further ado, your lovely, beautiful horror hostess Keisha has two articles with Swedish Nerd, and you can go and check them out. One is Black Women in Horror, and the other one is Perfect Horror Recipe for Perfect Horror, story, which is small towns and nonconformity. We see that so many times in many different TV shows and various literature books of horror. Stephen King, which he is like the number one of writing a lot of his horror stories in fictitious towns, especially, which is centered around real small towns around this home state of Maine. Many others I could think of. But yes, it was just a perfect article to write right there. I am a big avid book fan. I've been reading for a long time, but guess what? I've written articles, and I have some more articles to be shipping out and tip-tapping on my keyboard. But for now, we are going to be talking about Resident Evil, the series. Now, for those who are very, very, very familiar, well known with Resident Evil, it started off as a video game. For those who have grew up in the 80s and the 90s and parts of 2000s, where we have literally packed the malls on weekends going to the arcade, and guess what? We seen that that arcade game of Resident Evil. It was one of the games that I mean, it really impressed me of how scary it was when I first played it, and I was like, "Ooh, this is too much right here. I'm gonna go ahead and play Primal Rage. I stick to my basics of Mortal Kombat, Primal Rage, The Simpsons, and X Men. Those were my go-tos right there. Those were my go-to arcade games that I played while chilling at the mall and stuff. But Wes Anderson adapted the game of Evil, Resident Evil, made it into six sequel movies, starring his wife Mila Jovovich, where she plays the main protagonist. And I'm gonna say like Resident Evil. The first Resident Evil movie that came out in 2002, that was like my redemption of getting back into watching zombie movies. This is also part of like the rise of a lot of zombie apocalypse movies and things like that. You already had like the comic book The Walking Dead, coming out and everything, which is adapted to like the AMC television show, and it is the longest running horror show that is about human stories set in a zombie apocalypse. Um, Wonderful, wonderful show. I can't still can't believe it's still going. There has been always been like so many shows that has like came out after Resident Evil the movie. Z Nation. Like I mentioned, The Walking Dead. Um, the 100, Fear of the Walking Dead. It's just been so many shows that has came out ever since the whole zombie craze and everything, which was probably like I would say like about like 15, almost 20 years ago. But Netflix took it upon themselves to create Resident Evil the series. Now, I am going to tell you the synopsis. There is some spoilers with this and everything. It is about our story of the T virus, the zombie apocalypse, things like that. But we find out that they have had like the population control of the zombies and everything back then of like with the movies what we watched. There's six movies of Resident Evil. It was like we seen like the mutation of with animals throughout like the movies and stuff. We seen like how Umbrella Corporation is still like large and in charge. But with this one right here, this is about it takes place in the future of 2036. We see a young woman. She is named Jade, and she is in London. And it has like that 28 days feel with it and everything. I like to see like bits and pieces of like horror movies that that we seen like 28 days, and it gave me like that feel right there. There's absolutely 8 episodes like within this first season. But within the fifth episode of this of the show, I got bored and I fast forward. Not pretty much on binging. It did like I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I kind of binged a little bit and everything. I was like, okay, let me like. I was like, okay, like still intriguing me, and that's where it starts to really fall off on episode 5. It fell off completely in the trash. I mean, totally dumpster fire with this series. She is trying to find a cure. She's trying to find anything in her power to like make sure that we have a cure for like the whole zombie apocalypse issue, which they actually call zombie zeros and stuff. That's pretty cool right there. There's a lot of mystery. There's a lot of back and forth of like Jade of adult Jade of finding the cure, and she's trying to get back home to the university. The university is actually a big liner ship, tank liner ship. It has like people. These are like actually supposedly be like the free people. These are the people that is that is keeping the human history alive with arts, literature, you name it. There's families on there on this boat, and she's part of this group of people, which they, is called the university. And you would thought maybe it's like a piece of land that they were on, but guess what? It's not. It's a ship that just keep cruising all through the waters and shit like that. But she ends up with a lot of danger and trouble. There's Umbrella looking for her. She's very important, but we don't know why, who is looking for her. Come to find out, it is actually her sister Billy, which she explained that she is dead, but she really isn't dead. She's actually working with Umbrella, with the main antagonist in this show, which is Evelyn Marcus. Evelyn Marcus is the daughter of the whole motherfucker who brought up the whole umbrella shit and everything. We've seen him, in the movies and stuff. But this is the one thing I particularly liked about it, is that she is so sinister and so vicious, like a mofo. I love a good fucking villain. And this is like the shining moment of why it kept me so interested, is because of Evelyn Marcus. I mean, she is cutthroat. She is ruthless. I mean, she is a very delicious villain. She also has a son that helps Jade and Billy throughout, mostly Jade, throughout like the whole story of this. And like I said, the whole back and forth of like 14 years ago when they were teenagers, and then like now and this and everything, it gets way too stretched out. I seen like the plot was just really breaking very, very thin within the continuation of trying to build up the suspense and the intrigue of the mystery of why is this still happening. And it was just way too much um, for the audience, to me, as an audience, to watch this and everything. It just did not pace itself properly to where you can enjoy it for like those 5 episodes, but then it just falls the fuck off. And by the way, I use the F word and everything, but these two little ass girls and shit, when I watched when young Jade comes in the house and she is talking crazy to her dad and tells him to fuck off and all that stuff. And I was like, who is paying these motherfucking bills, girl? I don't see you paying damn bills. All you need to do is you need to take your ass to school and learn and shut up and quit talking to your dad like that. And I was just like, that is like one of the things that annoyed the crap out of me, is how these characters, Billy and Jade, even though they're DNA modified, because we find out that they're not really, like, their dad didn't even have sex basically and everything. They're clones, modified clones. He has also always takes their blood, and he is also a clone himself, as we found out later on, within a couple of episodes. I think it's like the 5th or the 6th episode. And so he takes their blood, kind of like he's like a vampire or some shit like that. You also see like some nuances of Blade whenever we discovered going again back in time with this damn uh, going backstory shit, which was really getting on my damn nerves. That he has like these 5 clones and stuff. One of them looks like the Nutty Professor without the fat suit. The other one looks like Blade, with the ridiculous ass Tyler Perry bullshit ass wig. I mean, it was just like, I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, are you serious? But I seen few movies, horror movies like Blade, 28 Days Later. We even seen Evil Dead, especially with the action sequence that they did. It was poorly executed, but I do give them some little bit of credit of not trying to be like a stylized action sequence like within the show, because it just wouldn't. It would just look stupid as it is. Um, Especially the part of Richard who was working for Umbrella when he was caught by this cult that was like living in a castle in France. They were like these religious weirdos and stuff, saying that the T virus is a thing from God. And I was just like, okay, we're gonna throw some Joan of Arc shit up in here. Okay, cool, whatever. The guy that was talking and stuff, he just reminds me of like a Greater Value Walmart brand of like the guy off The Crow with the stupid ass glasses and the long hair and the raspy smoking voice, things like that. And I'm a smoker too, but Jesus Christ, that dude has smoked at least about like 10 packs a day. Yes, I do need to quit smoking. That's one of my stupid ass vices, but sue me anyways, whatever. Change me, okay? So anyways, it was yeah, I need a drink of water from that. But I also think, but it was one part of it of where she discovers that one of the zeros actually has like this mutated growth on the back of her on her neck where she controls the zeros because they had them working, and the only way they can cooperate and do the work for them like in this castle and stuff is because of this Henrietta looking zombie and everything. And of course you have to have the chainsaw, all that stuff with Jane. She goes back and she cuts the neck off of the head off this zombie. Jade is a mom. She's also married. So I seen like how she reacts with her husband. No kind of chemistry whatsoever. I mean, it was just dry. I felt like, wow, for her to be like this badass, female character in this series, you sure do have a dry ass. You're not fooling nobody with this shit. It just felt so wooden. These two actors, being husband and wife, it was. I was like, you could have. I mean, I was just like, okay, it was not like, man, my badass wife just went through all through this stuff and she's trying to get back home, and they have a fight. She lays down on the bed, she's got like zombie pieces and shit, all in her hair. She's dried blood, she stinks and things like that, and she lays on the clean ass bed. And I was like, get your ass off that bed, take your ass and get in that damn shower, wash your ass real good. Because to me, I was just like, if I went through an ordeal like that and I made it home, I seen my husband, I seen my daughter, the first thing I'm going to do is take my musty ass and get in some hot water. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to. Or they have an argument too when she made it back, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense right there. I'm like, go wash that shit out of your hair. Oh my gosh, because I was wondering, I was like, wow, her braids look very nice and crisp. I'm like, they got some badass braiders in 2036 with all the zombie apocalypse going on. I was like, ah, damn. I was like, I kind of thought about it. I was like, well, you do have to have somebody to braid some good ass shit, in a zombie apocalypse when everything else has went down the drain in humanity and everything. You gotta have somebody that can braid the shit out of some hair. And if we do head into a zombie apocalypse, I hope to have a braider that can put me some badass braid designs and hook up my yaki and everything else, uh, that's what I look forward to. But again, the whole series just left me very dry. I felt it was like no type of imagination whatsoever within the script. There was just so many fillers, and they was just overusing the whole backstory plot, everything, just to get the main point about this. Now, what I liked about it is that they did use the mutated animals, like the dog that bit Billy, the rat. I like that they had this big gigantic caterpillar that was about to devour a Jade. Whenever she ran into some issues, she actually cut herself against the door whenever she was making some observations with the Zeds and everything, or the Zeros as they call them. Um, those two little teenager girls and everything, Billy and Jade, that they really got on my nerves. But then again, they're teenagers and stuff. I mean, I have a teenage son and everything, and he gets on my nerves, and he's very fucking annoying, but he's still the sweetest kid ever and everything, very kind and caring, but still he gets on my damn nerves, and I still have to get on his butt about his language and stuff. And I was like, sir, you gotta have some respect with that. I am your mom. You don't talk to me. Don't be talking to me like that. Like you need to talk to your little friends like that. Don't be talking to your mama like that. Don't even talk to nobody like that. Don't, not an adult, okay? You can use your proper words to get your emotions and feelings and logic out and everything without being like that. But yeah, I do allow my son to express himself, but he cannot express himself that damn freely, because guess what? He's still up under this house with these rules and everything. When he get his own place and everything, he can do wherever the hell he want to do. And I wish, and I kind of liked it when Albert, their father, and everything got on both of their asses, and I was so super glad. I hate that the girls were just so super nosy, and I was just like, y'all are not slick, you're not secretive, and I was just like, first of all, when I was young like them, okay, there was things that I found out about my dad, my mom, and everything else with adults that I'm not supposed to know. But I kept it to myself because guess what? I don't understand the whole thing about adults as a teenager. So I'm going to keep my lip zip. That's none of my damn business. That's adult shit, because I don't want to know all about that adult shit when I was a teenager, until when I get to above age and have a little bit more maturity about what's going on of the adult world and everything. And that's where they actually told me of this certain situation that happened that I seen and I didn't understand, but I said, I'm gonna mind my own damn business. I'm gonna stay being a teenager, because like adult shit to me seems very complex and very scary. And that's what I had in my mind. But these teenager girls, they was just all over the damn place. They were all over the place, and just caused they caused so much trouble. It was ridiculous. I mean, even they got the guy that was contacting Jade, because when Billy got bit by the infected dog with the T virus, she fought that off because, like I said, she's DNA modified genetically, everything else, no GMO and stuff like that. Both of them are. He was caught and everything because he went into New Raccoon City, which is, by the way, located in South Africa, because they destroyed the Old Raccoon City. If you remember on Resident Evil movies, they destroyed Raccoon City and everything to stop the infection and the murders and the killings and things like that, to keep from people from not turning into zombies. That didn't work. But this is like that aftermath of it, and that was like the one part that I really got into, is that he had all this information, because they Umbrella was in Tijuana. They was had their company there. They kept the people silent, paying them off. There was a guy who got bit 3 days later. He went crazy. They had to kill him. um that was a really good subplot right there to like tie that in. That kept me intrigued by that. I felt like that was a really good subplot to like actually explore a little bit, but they just left it just there because it was just too fucking focused on Billy and Jade, and I was completely over it. They also, like in the last 3 episodes, which I danced around, just kind of looked and man, fast forward and everything else. You can tell if a show has lost your interest, and you're like, well, what it's not going to kill you to look at like the last 3 episodes or whatever. It was still the same corny ass shit. I was just like, I'm done with this. They also had like this big alligator, which was like the last resort for the university to use, just in case shit goes amok. It goes all fuck up and everything. They did that. um Jade's daughter got off the ship to like look for her mom, and I was just like, for a young girl who is brightly intelligent and everything, you lack a lot of common sense, because sometimes like kids do not do shit like that. I'm sorry. I mean, like, I'm just gonna say it like it is. My mother, yes, indeed, when she was living, there was different things that was going on in her life. With her addiction, she was gone for like 2 months, 2 weeks, three. I just didn't feel the need to like go and look for her because I don't know where the hell she's at. Yeah. Nope. I was just like, well, she be back whenever she be back. So yeah, you can understand what I'm saying. I'm just not gonna go out and look for her. I'm just not. That was that child. I'm like, I don't know where my mom is, but I'm just gonna pretend she's at the house. I know she was gone, different situation a long time ago, but I'm not gonna go look for my mom. I'm not gonna look for my dad. My dad's gone for a long time, and I'm like, well, he be back, and he came back, I'm saying, like, oh, they come back, they do. Parents do come back, doesn't matter if they're having addiction or not and everything. They do come back. I mean, they got to pay the bills and take care of their children. But yes, come to find out, like, the huge alligator, which reminds me of the movie Alligator that was back in the 80s and stuff, of the alligator that got flushed down the toilet, became like this big menacing monster, terrorizing everybody in New York in the sewer system. Jade has actually put some of her daughter's DNA in this big, huge, like, dinosaur of a reptile, which alligators happen to be the last of the dinosaurs. They really are. They have not changed quite a lot. Even the great white shark, ever since the evolution of dinosaurs and things like that. I can go on about that, but I wouldn't bore you. So we see Billy. Billy's alive. We find out, oh, she's alive, but she went with Umbrella. She went with the bad guys, and Jade is the good guy because she took upon like the science, of her father and everything else, and there was just this sisterly conflict battle type, shit like that. Blah blah blah. I'm like, me and my sister are not even like that. I mean, we have our disagreements, and sometimes I want to beat her ass, and sometimes she want to beat my ass and everything. But it's not even that deep like that. They have some serious family issues. Trust me. This is all a number of family issues to me. But the villain is really great. The throwbacks to like the Resident Evil movies with the mutation, the T virus, and everything. That's wonderful. But other than that, I give this motherfucker a C minus and everything. Thanks for trying Netflix and stuff, but it just did not grab my interest. But further ado, that's the end of my review. And thank you so much for listening to the Random Horror Show, and you have a great night.